Alrighty. Hopefully you guys are doing good. It's me, Mongo. You already know who I am, but anyhow, I guess I feel obligated to say that. Yeah, it's just little old me, and I figure, hey, it's been a while since I've read some of this. And just a moment here, folks. I will start getting into it, but let me just close up my window. Got my window open, and well, I am near a busy road. We don't want none of that coming into our Godzilla versus. Oh no, not Godzilla. Our King Kong versus Tarzan stuff. Godzilla. Alrighty, folks. So today we're going to read through chapter 4. If I feel so inclined, I might go with chapter 5 too, but we'll see where we go. No promises, no promises. We're reading if you're new here, we are currently reading, let's see, this book right here, King Kong versus Tarzan. And yeah, let's get right down into it here. Let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Chapter 4. Whew, it's been a while. It has been a hot minute since I last read this. But anyhow, here we go. Chapter 4. Jack Driscoll maneuvered the muttering motor launch to the Wanderer's scabby stern, and one by one the shore party went up the Jacob's ladder. Captain Englehorn first. There was some discussion about lowering a boatswain's chair with which to hoist up the old woman named Penjaga, but while the advisability of getting her to sit balanced on what amounted to a jury-rigged plank was argued, the passenger in question pushed two startled sailors aside and clambered up the accommodation ladder with the bony agility of a monkey a fraction of her age. Hey there, G-Fan. How you doing? Very nice to see you. Very nice to see you. I'm just reading through this book here. It's actually really nice. King Kong versus Tarzan by Will Murphy. Um, really nice book. I'm only in chapter 4 right now, but first chapter was amazing. Um, Basically, we're still on Skull Island or near Skull Island. They should have made Godzilla versus the Land That Time Forgot after this one. That would have been great. Hail the Time Prophet. Hail. Let me see here. Let me get back to this bit here. So we're in chapter 4. I just read a little bit here. So let's see. Ready. Here we go. She don't let nothing stop her, does she? A sailor remarked to Driscoll. No, she doesn't, returned the first mate, pushing the sailor to go next. Driscoll clambered up last. When he reached the deck, Driscoll was met by the boatswain, Beaumont by name. Boatswain, or is it bosun? I feel like I've heard both pronunciations. I'm gonna say yeah. I'll just keep saying boatswain, but it might be bosun. The man's eyes were round from studying the recumbent form of Kong, whose bristling black coat of hair was marred by numerous wounds and healed scars, suggestive of ferocious past battles. One livid line burned down the right cheek, and a deeper one that gouged into the beast's right shoulder. His massive fingers resembled monster talons, the fingernails freshly cracked and broken from combat with the Tyrannosaurus rex. The bosun's leathery features looked a few shades paler than that when Then, when Driscoll had last laid eyes on him, "Mean looking brute, ain't he?" he remarked dryly. "I'll tell a man," Driscoll returned gruffly, "and it's our job to yank him on board and keep him tied down." The boatswain was not entirely surprised, as he barely flinched at this information. "What port will we drop him off at?" Driscoll gave him a withering stare. "Hoboken. Where do you think?" "I was kind of hoping for Madagascar," admitted the seaman. "Do you think we can haul him all that way?" "I'm getting damn tired of that question." Suppressing his anger at the prospect before him, Driscoll snarled. "I'm not yet sure we can get him on board this hooker. Now here's the lay of it. We'll have to secure Kong to the raft, then hook the raft up to the lifting arm, hoist the raft up, clear the well deck, then lower him into the number 3 hold, and that will be that." "That will be something, all right," whistled the boatswain. "But if any crew can do it, ours can." Oh, didn't know that. Didn't know that, Time Prophet. Mars Attacks. Hmm, that's interesting. Hmm. It's been a while since I've watched that movie. I might have to try and find that because that movie scared me a lot as a kid. The aliens themselves were all right. It wasn't anything hugely freakish about them, other than their skull faces. That's what really got me: skeletons and skulls, and then vaporizing people, and you see their skeletons. That really got me scared as a kid. Oh, that's cool. That's nice. Hmm. Let's see here. That's the spirit, boats, returned Driscoll. Fishing into his coat for a pack of cigarettes, he carefully lit one, as if preparing himself for the ordeal ahead. His arm still throbbed from his near fatal brush with Kong. Fortunately, no bone had been broken, merely wrenched. Quickly, seamen went down ropes, landed on the raft, and tiptoed around the recumbent monster. One sailor staggered, seemed to faint. Driscoll called down, "What's the matter with him?" "This big ape stinks to high heaven," hollered back the boatswain. "It's that gas," snapped Driscoll. "The stuff we knocked him out with. It's still in his fur. Evaporating. Evaporation is releasing it. Get back up here, boats. He'll need time to dry off." "Oh, yeah, no problem, Time Prophet. No problem at all. I hope you have a good night. Thanks for the upvote. Thanks for passing through. It's very nice of you. And I wish you the best in your current and future endeavors. Godspeed, Time Prophet." Alrighty. Get back up here, boats. He'll need time to dry off. Hearing this exchange, Carl Denham charged up, his ruddy face growing pale. "What's the holdup? We haven't all day." "Residual gas is seeping out of his fur," said Driscoll slowly. "It's got to one of the men. We're going to have to let the monster cool off." "Cool off? What if he wakes up?" "If he wakes up, we'll have more on our hands than we will know what to do with. But until it's safe to be around him, Kong can't be properly secured." Fighting back his complaints, Denham stalked off in search of the captain, seeking an appeal that no doubt would fall on deaf ears, practicalities being what they were. When he reappeared, it was evident that the bull-headed director had gotten nowhere with the old man, for Denham became busy setting up his bulky black Bell and Howell 2709 movie camera beginning with the folding wooden tripod. He had already loaded a precious he had already loaded a precious canister of film into the mechanism. Somebody let me know when the time comes, Denham bellowed to no one in particular. Then he found a shady spot in the shadow of a great tulip mouthed deck ventilator, pulled his old battered campaign hat low over his forehead, and sat down to take a nap. Another hour passed until the sailors were able to brave the raft without kneeling over. Lifting his head, one flashed the OK sign, calling up, "Let's get to it." Driscoll gave orders to the boatswain, who relayed them to his work crew. Then the big derrick boom swung out and lowered its hook. In accordance with marine procedure, the radio mast had been lowered to the decks to avoid it being snapped by the swinging boom. The deck gang was practiced in their skills. Lines were attached to the sea sawing lifting arm hook and run by the deck gang to safety hooks secured to eye bolts that had been installed into the framing timbers on dry land. Two men fixed these at 4 points of the raft, while a second group worked hard to tie down the slumbering giant, paying special attention to his hairy arms and legs, moving them with crowbars, to distribute the apish brute's weight evenly before making his limbs fast. Shackles had been hammered out of steel sheets by the ship's mechanical foreman and fitted around hairy wrists and ankles. Well, hello there. We got Joyce. Very nice to see you here. I'm just reading through this little book here. You can see it on screen, or at least the cover of it on screen. It is King Kong versus Tarzan by Will Murray. Sorry. And yeah, we're just going on through it. I usually just read 10 pages of this, and really, it's just something to do. Something to do. Getting back in the swing of things because it's been a hot minute since I last read this book. It's probably been probably near close to a week, maybe a week and a half now. But anyhow, let me get back to this thing. Alrighty, shackles had been hammered out of sheet steel by the ship's mechanical foreman and fitted around hairy wrists and ankles. "The monster is secure," called up the boatswain. At the rail, Driscoll nodded and turned to the lifting arm. He gave the hand signal to the derrick operator and winch driver to commence hoisting. "Hello, theme park casual. How you doing, my man? How you doing?" "Oh yeah, just so you see, think you might get a kick out of this. So I was able to do this with one of the images that you sent me. For you guys who are unaware, Theme Park Casual is very knowledgeable in a lot of computer graphic stuff. At least that's what I think. But he sent me these wonderful series of different logos. And yeah, basically, I've just been kind of formatting them, making sure they kind of fit in. And yeah, so here is one of those. And I think it really fits in with what we're reading today. Look at that. It's kind of tiny. It's up there in the corner, but yeah, it's pretty nice. Here, let me show you the audio avatar. All right. Well, that's got a white background, but hey, a little white ring around it. But hey, I gotta say, it's really awesome and huge. So nice. Nobody really needed to do that, but it really does mean a lot. But anyhow, folks, let me get back on to this. Very glad to see you here, Mr. Theme Park Casual. I assume Mr., but I don't know if you are of a different persuasion. If you're If you are a miss, then forgive me, pardon me. But yeah, thank you very much. Very much. And we got Bone, Mr. Bone. Mr. Bone in the chat. And yes, yeah, big thumbs up. Let's see here. Do Mr. All right, that is good. Mr. That's Mr. Pig. I gotta look that up. I gotta find a clip of that because I love that clip from The Lion King. They call me Mr. Pig. Gotta find a clip of that and a clip of Not the Mama from that dinosaur show back in the day. Not the Mama. But anyhow. I hope you guys are doing good. It's a nice Friday here in my part of Southern California. It's a little overcast, which is actually kind of nice because it started heating up a bit this last week. And it looks like we're going to get some rain here, at least on Saturday and Sunday, which will be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see. We definitely need the moisture, I'll say that much. In the meantime, let me just take a nice drink of my beverage. Folks, yeah, sit back, relax, do whatever you're doing, and yeah, hopefully we have some nice little stuff, nice feelings. I don't know. Dinosaurs. It was a really good show. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind looking that up again. California. I live across from the U.S. South Carolina. Holy cow, that is a long ways away. For me, it has 10 past 12, so it is 12:10 in the afternoon for me. But yeah, I it's always interesting, it's very humbling to be able to kind of have people from kind of all around the world, or at least all around the US, coming into here and just being nice and talking and stuff. Like the Time Prophet, he's in like Britain or something, or England, whichever term is correct. He's in England, so like right now it's his bedtime. He's getting ready for bed. But yeah, it's always really interesting. It's 3:11. Wow. Sheesh. I tell you, it's 3:10. Oh, well, look at that. You and Bone, you're in the same time zone. That's always cool. You're in the Bone zone. Well, you're in Bone's time zone, which is always nice. Before we get into it, get back into the book here, I just got to say, I've been listening to this really nice podcast, Steve Austin. Steve Austin, he was a wrestler, WWE. He does a podcast, Broken Skull podcast. Really nice. I've listened to him on and off, but today I was listening to a podcast episode of him talking with Mark Henry, and that was amazing. Really great interview. Really great back and forth between them, great conversation to listen to. I'll have to post a clip of that or something on somewheres. Look at that. Ain't that crazy though, South Carolina to Florida, it's like 7 hours. Wow, that's crazy. Crazy. Ain't that nuts? Anyhow, folks, I'm gonna get back to it. Let's see. Yeah, let me just take a look at my progress. I know it's funny to say that. I got like 2 pages. That's kind of the nice thing with these chapters. It's only like a 10-page chapter at the most. But yeah, so basically we're in the process. The crew of the SS Wanderer are in the process of raising up Kong into their boat to transport him to eventually New York. But anyhow, at the rail, Driscoll nodded and turned to the lifting arm. He gave the hand signal to the derrick operator and winch driver to commence hoisting. Here is where the work was most perilous. The swinging derrick arm and steam donkey had to work in unison, not too fast nor too slow, in order to keep the load balanced. A seasoned crew could hoist ordinary bale freight or crated cargo up to the level of the well deck, clearing its high steel sides without a hitch, while a freighter like the Wanderer was docked. But the old vessel was not snug in port, but anchored on the open ocean, every wave the comber striking her rusty hull made every part of her sway drunkenly. Derrick, anchoring deck, and precariously balanced cargo. Now, unfortunately, this book was never made into a movie. That would have been very interesting. I believe the. Let me take a look at the company here. The Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated, I think, is this. Let me see. Let me turn a few pages here since you asked. Edgar Rice Burroughs Incorporated, they own pretty much all the rights to Tarzan of the Apes, as well as John Carter of Mars. Um, Essentially, they pretty much own this because depending on the version of King Kong that you're using, there's some versions that are, I think they're either in the public domain or are not owned by another company or are owned by another company. So I think if you were to make this into a movie, you'd probably have to go through quite a few hurdles just with using the character. Obviously, I guess it depends on what company is making it, but yeah, is Will Murray. That's the thing. When I first started reading this, I kept almost slipping and saying Bill Murray. Or, but yeah, that's funny. Leaning over the rail, hoping for the best, Jack Driscoll watched the operation with his massive knuckles turning white as bone chips. The raft began to shake and lift. It broke free of the chop with a rushing sound as water cascaded from every timber and lashing like a sea serpent drooling. 4 sailors, brave souls, stood at the eye bolts at the 4 corners of the raft, holding on to the hoisting cables, serving as lookouts, but also ready to move fast if the balance weight of the makeshift pallet shifted. Their job was to counterbalance any tipping if they could. Look at the size of those mitts, marveled one. If he wakes up, we'd be crushed to a pulp, finished another. So let's skip talking about it. I've got enough jitters as it is. There was not that much clearance between the edge of the raft and the scabby hull of the freighter, and twice the raft banged against the hull, giving everyone a start. Steady, boys, steady, cautioned Driscoll. It's crazy, but it's working. Almost as soon as the words were out of his mouth, there came a grunting sound, a splintering crack like dry thunder. Lightning, were it composed of wood and not energy, would make such a noise. Stop, stop, yelled Driscoll. A lever was yanked, halting the steam winch. The frantic faced first mate peered over the rail to assess the damage. I can't see anything, he yelled down. What broke? The 2 sailors released their cables and moved about, gingerly looking for fractures and breakage. One found something. One of the center logs split longitudinally, he called up, Holding, yelled back Driscoll. So far, good. Think it will bear the strain? The seaman shrugged his shoulders hopelessly. Your guess is as good as mine, sir. Captain Engelhorn bustled up and took his first mate's terse report. Still time to abandon cargo, Captain, Driscoll concluded. Captain Engelhorn was long considering the matter. Carl Denham watched anxiously at a distance, for once afraid to interfere lest the force of his belligerent personality tip things in the wrong direction for the wrong reasons. Oh, look at that. Reading Rainbow. Anyone remember Reading Rainbow? You really should have been on Reading Rainbow. Your voice is soothing for some weird reason. Oh, well, that's good. Well, that's always a good thing, I say, yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think of Reading Rainbow. Didn't they have a little song or whatever? Just take a look. It's in a book. Reading Rainbow or something like that. But thank you. I really appreciate the compliment. Everybody loves compliments. That's at least I do. But let's see. Actually, I never grew up watching that show either. Reading Rainbow might have been cool. Might have been cool. Maybe I'll look up a clip or two on the YouTube. Just get a sample of it. Yes. Yes, that's the song. All right. Very cool. And again, thank you guys so much for being in here. And yeah, you guys really enrich and enhance the experience, for me at least. But yeah, let's keep it going. Let's see what that was my life. Yeah, yeah. I never really watched. Never watched that. There's a couple kids shows that I never watched too much. LeVar Burton. Oh, okay. Hmm, that's the name, right? I I don't know. Beats me. Yes. How can I forget? Oh, all righty. Carl Denham watched anxiously at a distance, for once afraid to interfere, lest the force of his belligerent personality tip things in the wrong direction for the wrong reasons. Mate, Captain Anglehorn said placidly, resume hoisting. If she breaks apart, that will conclude operations. At the stern where he was filming, Carl Denham overheard these words. He released a sigh of relief that was audible, clear to the rust-stained bow. Driscoll gave the order to resume hoisting. The winch driver engaged his controls. Gushing steam, the hammering steam donkey made whining sounds, and the raft lifted anew. All ears were alert for any sound of warning, for the deck crew knew that they would hear trouble before they could see it. The raft strained at many points, crackling like a distant fire. Twice they were sure that something would snap from the uncommon stress. At one point, a sudden snarling and snapping told of a lashing that had parted explosively. Yet the raft held. It's a miracle, breathed the boatswain to Driscoll. Jack nodded. That raft was designed to float, not bear Kong's weight unbuoyed by water. As they watched the crew retreating, the cargo derrick brought the ungainly contrivance above the momentarily level deck, and with exceeding care shifted it until it started hovering over the open cargo hatchway amidships. This was hold number 3, the largest in the ship. It had been extended into hold number 4, doubling the size of either to over 50 feet, and had been lined with stainless steel. The boatswain turned to Jack Driscoll, and the first mate nodded back. At a signal, the raft was winched down into the hold, and the men who dropped down with it scrambled to release the safety hooks once the raft was firmly in place. They were no fools. They rode the hooks back up onto deck rather than remain in the darkness with the hairy beast god from Skull Mountain Island. Deck workers rushed to close the cargo hatch doors. Electric winches helped, the massive steel doors being too heavy for manpower alone. Sealing Kong within, a massive tarpaulin was hastily unrolled over the hatch and secured with long wooden battens, ensuring that the hold and its titanic occupant would be protected from the elements. "She's all secure," the first seaman called out. Carl Denham hurried over to them, shook their hands vigorously, and seemed intent on shaking the hand of every crewman aboard the tramp freighter, promising bonuses in a hearty, overblown voice. Driscoll turned to his bosun and remarked dryly, "Now all we have to figure out is how to feed him. He looks like he could eat a ton of roughage a day," the bosun said wonderingly. "That he does," agreed Driscoll morosely, "and it won't be all bananas boats. That big gorilla eats meat, dinosaurs. The Stegosaurus is lunch to him. For his supper, he'll want nothing less than a Tyrannosaurus Rex, raw. I draw the line at bringing dinosaurs aboard the ship," joked this bosun. "Maybe an Allosaurus will do," returned Driscoll without humor. The first mate walked away, leaving the bosun blinking stupidly, wondering if he was going to have to hunt up a live Allosaurus. And that's the end of the chapter right there. So this is something that's really nice. I really enjoyed the last couple of chapters. So if you're just now tuning into these readings, I think it's kind of nice to give some of the context here. So with the first chapter of this book, basically it takes place right after Jack Driscoll saves Ann Darrow from her initial capture from King Kong. So you kind of know, if you're familiar with the movie, Jack Driscoll and Ann Darrow, they run back to the village, they go through the gate and the wall, and they have King Kong chasing after them. So instead of King Kong capturing them, Carl Denham, he decides, hey, we're going to capture Kong. They do their whole thing. If you want to see that, you can see the movie. But what is nice is you get to see some of the logistical challenges around transporting this giant ape. Even just getting him onto the boat was something that they had to do they pretty much devoted almost 3 chapters to just figuring out how they were going to do it. And it really was nice. You have a few interesting things here that I really enjoyed, especially at the end here. Uh, Something that I think should be noted is that King Kong, he doesn't just eat bananas. He doesn't just eat roughage. He eats whatever he wants. They say here he eats meat. That big gorilla eats meat, dinosaurs. And in almost a half joking manner, he says, Jack Driscoll says, the Stegosaurus is lunch to him. For his supper, he'll want nothing less than a Tyrannosaurus Rex. And that's an element that I think isn't quite portrayed very often about King Kong, or even about gorillas in general. As I understand, a gorilla kind of functions the same way. It's going to eat whatever it wants, whether it's roughage, termites, or I guess even meat. But don't quote me on that last part. I never met a gorilla before. I gone to the zoo, but they never feed the gorillas hot dogs over there. But that's something that I really enjoy. And it really helps to emphasize the monstrousness of King Kong, the unnaturalness too. Earlier, I love the descriptors that they use. Let's see, they were talking about his nails. His nails. Let me see if I can find that. Let me make sure here. It's not this page. It'd be the next page here. I think so. Not that. But they're talking about his nails, his fingernails, and how they were like talons, how they had been cracked and freshly broken. I was in the very first page of this chapter, just describing King Kong. I loved reading that. I love reading how Will Murray describes Kong. Really helps to kind of illustrate a picture here for you. Let's see. The man's eyes were round from studying the recumbent form of Kong, whose bristling black coat of hair was marred by numerous wounds and healed scars, suggestive of a ferocious past battles. That's part of why I really enjoy. You take a look at 2005, Peter Jackson's King Kong. That Kong is weathered and worn. He is just covered in scars. That's honestly one of my favorite versions, or iterations of King Kong. Just amazing. He's old, he's weathered, you can tell he's been through it. He's been through the crap, so to speak. But let's see here. One livid line burned down the right cheek, and a deeper one was gouged into the beast's right shoulder. His massive fingers resembled monster talons, the fingernails freshly cracked and broken from combat with the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Part of me almost wishes that Will Murray wrote a novelization of the original King Kong. I've seen one or two novelizations out there, at least on Amazon, and I'm definitely curious to look them up. Whether it's on Audible or physically get a physical copy. That would be interesting to go through. Let's see what you guys are saying. Reading Rainbow and Mr. Rogers. I never watched too much Mr. Rogers, but I do remember the trains. I remember liking the trains. I watched Barney. I watched Barney as a kid a lot. I remember that at least. I remember Barney. And I think Babar, that elephant, the cartoon elephant. Franklin, Bear in the Big Blue House. I remember that guy. I'm watching In the Heat of the Night right now. Let me look that up. I don't think I have watched that or heard of that. In the Heat of the Night. Oh, it's an American drama series, huh? Let me just take a drink of my stuff here. So, In the Heat of the Night is an American police procedural crime drama loosely based on the 1967 film. Okay, so you're probably talking about the 1967 film, yeah? It was a trolley, not a train. Okay, you got me there. You got me. In the Heat of the Night. Okay, so there's the 1967 film. Wow, it did very nice in the box office. It had a budget of $2 million. It made over 24 million in the box office. That's real nice. 109 minutes long. Pretty neat, pretty cool, pretty cool. Well, let me take off this little thing here. Since we ain't talking about King Kong no more, or we ain't reading King Kong no more. Folks, if you're just now tuning in, basically just read chapter 4 of King Kong versus Tarzan. Essentially, we went through some of the stuff here regarding how they were able to load King Kong onto their ship. And yeah, hopefully you guys are doing well. Yeah, here's a look at another little logo that Theme Park Casual made. I think it's really nice too. This is a Godzilla one. Let me put the audio avatar of that up here. There we go. I love that. It's the 1962 Godzilla. 1962? It might be 1964. Wait, let me think here. 1962 was Godzilla versus King Kong. And I think 1964 was Mothra versus King Kong, or Mothra versus Godzilla. Sorry, I got King Kong on the brain right now, so I'm slipping up here and there. But yeah, there's a lot of nice stuff there. There's a lot of nice things. I really like that. Honestly, I think any version of Godzilla looks pretty nice. Even in a way, the 1998 Godzilla from Roland Emmerich's movie Godzilla is not that bad either. It's nice in its own way. Couldn't find a high res of 1954. Yeah, I know, right? It's a little tedious just looking through, browsing online, trying to find these different images. And back when you already know, back when I was doing a trial for Photoshop, a free trial, like a 7-day trial for Photoshop. Like I had the dangest time trying to just find images, even if it was just a movie image, like straight from film. It was kind of tough because a lot of those older Godzilla movies, until very recently, they haven't been remastered. The quality of the images too is questionable. Even just picking up one of my DVDs that I have and just going into it and looking it up, it's like it's kind of half and half. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. It does not. But folks, I'm about at the end here. But how are you guys doing? I would love to hear what you guys or how you guys are. Let me put that up. So this is the little logo from the Fandom Menace. You can find him on Twitter, CJ. He's also called CJ. He made this a while ago, and yeah, I can't help but be grateful for you guys. You really enhance the experience as a whole, and I find it very enriching to interact with you guys. And that reminds me. Let me just take the time to talk about this little tweet that I made the other day. Now, this was yesterday, pretty much. Let me scroll down. Let me find it, and then I will share it. All righty, here we go. And let me share the screen here. And honestly, folks, when I say things and when I go out of my way to do stuff like this, I try and mean it, and I try to be as sincere and you know good about it as possible. But basically, I really want to tell you guys that I really feel lucky to know you. There's a few people who I see on a regular basis who really help me out, whether it's on a panel, in a live stream, or just screwing around in the chat. I want to thank you guys. Of course, and I tagged a variety of people. I couldn't tag Bone because Bone ain't on the Twitter, but it is what it is. And I'm glad I can tell you this right now. I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you guys taking your time out of the day to pop on through. And it's always fun to see you guys in the chats as well on various live streams. And yeah, just want to say thanks again. You guys help make this something worth doing. I don't get paid. And I don't really have any illusions to grandeur either. It's oh, you got Twitter. Well, that's good. I mean, bit of a spicy time to start up Twitter, but I guess you already know that because shoo. All the stuff. And I ain't going to talk about no election. I ain't going to talk about my politics and whatnot. Y'all don't come here to hear me talk about that stuff. But yeah, let's see. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. I feel like I want to look up, that movie, The Ghost in the Darkness? Oh, with that one guy who played Batman. That one actor who played Batman and who was in Top Gun. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer. I'm thinking, I think that was based on a book, but I'm going to have to look that up because I'd like to read that too. And, it's going to be a lot of Kong versus Tarzan because I think there's like 50 chapters in this book. No, not even that. There's 87 chapters in this book. And at the rate I'm going, well, let's just say it's a casual thing. But I got that. After I'm done reading that, I guess I'll eventually get to reading the book, the novelization of Dragonheart, which is considerably smaller, at probably not even half the size of this book. But that's something that I'd like to get if they have a book of that, The Ghost in the Darkness. I wouldn't mind Island of Dr. Moreau. I enjoyed listening to the audiobook of that. But anyhow, geez. Th- Thanks. I really enjoyed this. Geez. Geez? No, you're Joyce. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm screwing around. No worries. No worries. But anyhow, folks, I hope you're doing well. Hopefully, you guys stay well. You just made an account. I have no tweets or followers yet. Send the link. I will follow you. Oh, well. It's a good thing I got my Twitter open. That makes it pretty easy. Makes it pretty easy. I hope you chose a cool name too, like Bone Zone, like at Bone Zone or something like that. I'd really get a kick out of that. But here's a link to my Twitter. Mongo's Big Thinks. The maximum chapters I can read is about 50 chapters in the book, as thick as it by Stephen King. Oh man. Mm. That's the thing. I really love audiobooks because they make going through a book so much more convenient. Um, because like there was about 2 years I was working outdoors at a an RV resort. Not an RV park, but more of a resort. And I the best thing I did there was deciding to do Audible because I listened to all of the currently released Game of Thrones book, listened to all those at least 2 times. Listened to some of the other books by that take place in the Song of Ice and Fire universe or wherever, like mm, Fire and Blood, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, all that stuff. Then I listened to like all the Lord of the Rings books and a lot of the extra stuff like Children of Hurin, the Silmarillion. Gosh, but yeah, Audible just makes it so much easier. I don't know if I really retain everything as well as say, let's just say, mm, I don't think I've retained it as well as physically reading the book, but anyhow. Now I'm babbling. I'm babbling because I'm a rambling, gambling dude. But anyhow, I really appreciate that. Here's a Twitter link is down here in the chat. If you feel so inclined, you can follow me there at Mongo Thinks. And I'm a pretty chill dude. Sometimes I post pictures of baby pigs. Sometimes I post pictures of Godzilla. Sometimes I just make random little videos and I have fun with it. Because that's basically what I do. I just screw around. I have some fun. I be nice to people. I'm nice to people most of the times. Actually, yeah, I'd probably say a lot of the times. And yeah, if you want to take a chance on me, you can always find me there. You can find me on this YouTube channel, of course. And yeah, I'm just gonna start winding down. If you guys got any last things, try and put them into the chat right now so I can answer. And yeah, guys, yeah, here is a little clip that I put on here the other day. Over the line! I love John Goodman because honestly, he's one of the best actors out there in my book. Keyword, everybody, nice. Well, I try to be nice. Yeah, I'm always been a big softy, so to speak. But and whenever I come across something negative on Twitter and stuff like that, and if it makes me uncomfortable, I usually just either mute it or block it or something like that. But hey, you know, yeah, I try to be nice. I try to be nice. But anyhow, if I like you and I know you, then I'm usually extra nice. But don't let that get you worried there, folks. Unless you're not nice. If you're not nice, then well, I'll probably never talk to you. But anyhow, that's beside the point here, folks. That's beside the point. I'm going to end this thing. Big thanks to everybody here, Joyce Gauss. I'm going to say that as Gauss. 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 Let me know if that's correct. A big thanks to Joyce Gauss. A big thanks to Bone, Mr. Bone. Theme Park Casual. Thanks again for the lovely icons. They're beautiful. I love them. Big thanks to let's see here, scrolling up, the Time Prophet. The Time Prophet, he was great. If you don't know him, check him out. He's got a great video about the Valley of Guanji. And if you don't know what that is, that's basically cowboys and dinosaurs back in I don't know what time period. I don't know when it came out off the top of my head, but it's a great movie. If you like, if you like cowboys, you like dinosaurs, that's the movie for you. And of course, we had GFan84. Really, really knowledgeable guy right there. Really knowledgeable. That just reminded me of Roadhouse. I love that movie. I like that movie a lot. I really would love to know it like the back of my hand. But the only way I'm going to do that is by watching it more, which ain't a bad thing. Oh man, I love that one actor. Oh, I forget his name. Be nice until it's not. It's time not to be nice. Dalton Roadhouse. Yeah. Thanks. No, thank you. Honestly, no joke. I really appreciate it. But I'm talking in circles now, folks, and y'all know that you don't need me talking in circles. So, without further ado, get the honey. Get the honey.